There we go. The Zoom lady has officially blessed us with the recording. Thank you for, I'm guessing getting up early over there. It's 6 p.m. here. What time is it over there?
It's 9 a.m. here, so it's not too bad, but
Okay,
yeah.
good, good. All right, good to hear, good to hear. All right, well, welcome to my humble little podcast. My name's Brady. My podcast is Inner Strength Check, home of hobbies, riffs, and mental health. And I'm joined today by Serena Cherry of UK, Bristol, UK, I believe, for Peace, Svalbard. And the way I sort of conduct interviews, Serena, is I'll probably throw in a few generic journalistic style questions, but I'm happy to keep it pretty conversational and see where it goes from there. So yeah, some lots stuff happening in the Svalbard camp right now. What's the general kind of temperature of the room in the band at the moment?
We're very, very excited. So in a couple of
Yeah.
days, we fly out to Japan and we've got 3 shows there. And then we'll be flying over to Australia for our first Australian tour. I think it's always really exciting to be going to a new country for the first time. We don't know what to expect and we can't wait to play for any fans that come to the shows. Yeah, it's really, really exciting to be doing like a tour in a new country for the first time.
Fantastic. Is it your guys' first time touring Japan as well?
No,
Oh,
we have
okay.
played before,
Ah,
yeah.
lucky them. So what's your thoughts on touring Australia for the first time?
I can't wait. I can't wait to see the country. I can't
Yeah.
wait to explore the cities. Yeah. I'm a roller coaster enthusiast as well, so I'm hoping to get to Luna Park, Sydney and go on some rides
Nice,
while I'm there.
nice.
Yeah, we've already arranged to meet some koalas, as is,
As is
tradition when.
tradition, yep.
Yes, got to be done. So yeah, really, really just can't wait to take it all in, to be honest.
Oh, that's great. So getting the full experience then koalas, roller coasters. I mean, we've got Luna Park down here in Melbourne, but you're probably best going to some of the theme parks on the Gold Coast. Hot tip. There's a few there if you want to get your roller coaster on.
Well, this is
Um,
it. So, yeah, I know the ones on the Gold Coast, you've got like Warner Brothers World on there, but I don't think we're gonna have time
yeah.
to get there, sadly, with this tour, but maybe I'll come back out for a holiday for those.
Nice excuse to come back for a holiday. So it's going to be your first time in Australia as well. Yeah,
Yes.
interesting. What about the rest of the band? Is this their first time coming over to Australia as well?
The only member of the band who has been to Australia before is our drummer, Mark, and
Mm,
he went many years ago, I
mm.
think like 20 years ago or something like that. So, yeah, it's all pretty new to us, to be honest.
Right, right. Okay. Lots to look forward to then. And I guess on the subject of touring and shows and that sort of thing, I feel like I've kind of gotten on the front foot. I actually went overseas to Arctangent last year, and you guys came very highly commended from the locals. So I thought yep, sure, go on, check it out. And my feedback, yeah, look, not just because I'm interviewing a member of the band or whatnot, but phenomenal. And I distinctly remember it being really difficult to actually get into the tent at Art Tension, and people were really pushing in to see you. That I could literally physically see the buzz that's been surrounding you guys over the last like 12 plus months. So, and from my feedback from punters that were there at the time, it was a mixture of, responses from people I knew or just random people just being like, I remember seeing these guys in a small club playing to 10 people and now I can't get in to see them. How's that sort of experience been for you guys? Because you've sort of your trajectory seems to have been a nice slow incline, and then the last 12 months with the release of your last LP, it's just absolutely you've blown out onto the scene it seems.
Yeah, I mean, you're spot on with that. It was a very steady growth. We've been a band for over 10 years, and we
Mm,
did, we were playing very small DIY shows, small
mm,
DIY tours, it was never like it wasn't these big shows for quite a while. It was just a very slow burn, steady increase. And then with the release of our third album, When I Die, Will I Get Better, we noticed an
mm.
increase in interest from that one. And then with our most recent album, The Weight of the Mask, it seems to have like gone, yeah, to a whole new level now, which is really exciting. Like it's crazy to think at
Yeah.
Arctangent that people, people were struggling to get into the tent that we played. Like that's like because I go to Arctangent as a fan as well, and I've
Mm.
been that person trying to get in the tent to see Tesseract or whoever. So it's like,
Yeah.
wow, that happened for us. That's crazy. It's feels very surreal.
Yeah.
I feel like when am I going to wake up and it's just going to be a dream? Because yeah, it's just
Just keep
crazy.
pinching yourself. Just keep pinching
Yeah.
yourself. What do you feel like? I guess outside of obviously all of your albums have been quality material. I mean, I was thrashing the new album on the way back, and it's been received with lots of critical acclaim. And I find that completely unsurprising, but also in a sense, a little bit surprising too, because you guys inject a lot of sort of disparate influences. I can hear almost some post metal and some blackened style influences, which are kind of outside of that sort of commercial, more, I hate to use the word commercial, but outside of that more mainstream realm. What do you feel is kind of attributed to having a broad appeal despite having quite different musical influences there?
Oh, that's a really good question because I never think of Svalbard as having broad appeal, but you are right. Like there were good reviews in places, in like newspapers that review pop music and stuff,
Ah,
giving our album a good review. And to put that in that perspective, that is actually very surprising because they don't review every black metal release that comes out. They don't review every, uh, you know, post metal thing. So it's interesting to think maybe perhaps it's the combination of the different styles. Like we
mm,
are very eclectic. We
mm,
do bring each member of Svalbard listens to completely different music. So
mm,
I think that's where we end up with this real amalgamation of influences. I perhaps as well, like there is more clean singing on this
mm,
album.
mm,
So perhaps that has been a bit of a gateway to
mm,
getting more of a mainstream appeal. Yeah, it's interesting to think, like, or maybe it's the directness of the lyrics. Like that's something I end up talking about a lot
mm,
um, when doing interviews and things for Svalbard. People always want to ask about the sort of the real directness that we have and the approach we have to talking about mental health.
mm.
And obviously, with that being such an important topic in the media at the moment, maybe there's like a link there of, well, this band really stands for something, so we're gonna talk about that. So yeah, that's a really interesting question. I don't know because if I did know, I would be doing it more, right? I would be exploiting that
I think it's
that
an
thing that works.
interesting, that is an interesting take because I think, look, I've worked with folks from the UK. I'm a social worker by trade. I work with folks from the UK and quite a lot of expats from over there. And we won't go into the specifics of it, but boy, howdy, if I thought Australia was a neoliberal austerity mess and the mental health system's left a lot to be desired, do you think that maybe there's also that seeking because the overall a lot of the feedback that people are giving you guys is around having that strong emotive content and that direct appeal to a clear link to things like mental health, mental illness, that sort of thing. Do you feel like perhaps maybe it's the background environment that's really driving people seeking out music such as yours, like your lyrical style, and having that appeal to being open and honest and discussing mental health?
Definitely. I think that's like a really important, for me, it's one of the most important things in
Mm,
music is having that kind of that ability to strike resonance
mm,
lyrically with your listeners. And, the whole aim for me with my lyrics is to make people who are listening, who might be experiencing struggles with their mental health, it's to make them feel less alone. And I think when music makes you feel less alone is when it's at its most powerful.
and I do get a lot of that just as personally as a listener and just looking at the lyrics and that kind of thing. But a lot of the audience feedback seems to be about I do feel like I'm being spoken to or related to here as well. Yeah. Do you feel that that's a common theme sort of in the heavy music world at the moment, or yeah, what's your sort of
Um,
take on
I think there's been, it's been a really common theme throughout metal for a long time
it? Mm,
is the sort of metal has never been afraid to dive into inner turmoil, I think, and express like mental anguish or depression and or anxiety. I think that that's one of the things that drew me to metal as a fan in the first place is feeling
mm,
like there's an honesty to a lot of the lyrics. It's not afraid to call out political injustice or to talk about the depths of like darkness in the mind, or
mm.
they sing about dragons, which is also great. um,
Or dragons
but yeah,
going through a tough time, because dragons
yeah,
can too, hey? Interesting.
exactly.
So, in terms of how that, so that's more the songwriting end of things. When you're actually up on stage and screaming, riffing, great riffing and screaming by the, and increasingly singing, do you feel that there's an element of some of that being processed or some catharsis for yourself in delivering that on the live front and getting the response from the band? I'm sorry,
Oh,
the band and the audience. Yeah.
definitely, that's a huge
Mm.
thing for me. I always think of it's like giving the pain a purpose.
Mm.
So it's like you're struggling with all these like thoughts and feelings, and then you put them into a song, and it transforms those feelings into something that, yeah, can help others, something that has a bit of light to it, something that takes all that negative energy and turns it into melody and screams that you can perform live. And then the very act of screaming those words it is a physical release. It's one of the
Mm.
best forms of therapy that I could even recommend. Like, just
Cheaper
get on
too.
stage. Pardon? Yeah, yeah,
Cheaper
it
as well.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
In terms
So
of the
yeah.
live show, yeah, yeah. So you've got an interesting dynamic because you're a four piece and you've got two of you sharing guitar and vocal duties. In terms of blending that in, and it is blended in quite well, and you've got the sort of the vocal trade-offs between harsh, clean vocals, but a lot of intricate guitar work as well. Um, do you, in terms of preparing for the live setting, do you find that that takes quite a bit of work, or is it a bit more kind of natural and free flowing getting to that readiness?
We rehearse a lot. We've just come out of like a full weekend of back-to-back rehearsals all
Wow,
weekend.
nice.
We're very sort of we like to be we don't use like backing tracks or anything like that. Everything
Mm,
has to be created by the four of us in that moment. So we really want to have our synergy as the four musicians be as strong as it possibly can be. The best way
mm,
to get that is by putting the time into it. So
mm,
just, yeah, getting together as much as possible and playing in a room together as much as possible is the key, like, sort of preparation thing for us, I think, in the live setting. And then for me personally, I used to really struggle when we started doing tours many years ago. I used to lose my voice a lot
mm.
because I'd get really into like the meaning of the words and I'd be screaming it out, and then my voice would go for the next show. And then since then, I go running like 5 times a week, and running and swimming has really changed how I do vocals.
Wow,
And it has given me so much more lung power to like be
right.
able to perform night after night. So that's a big part of preparation for me is running and swimming.
Nice. There you go. There you go. So you feel like maybe just like that improvement in your diaphragm and your lung capacities meant sort of less reliance. Because I know a lot of harsh vocals, people will tend to either rely on kind of their vocal nodes, which can be risky, or their lung capacity. So sounds like it's a bit of a self-fulfilling cycle there into a good
Definitely.
one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's awesome. So with regards to getting together and coming to Australia and touring, what are your sort of thoughts or observations around our scene over here? How do you feel sort of about the state of the Australian music scene?
So I don't know that much about the Australian music scene. The bands I'm familiar with are obviously Parkway Drive and
Mm,
Aversion's Crown, but beneath that, beneath the surface, I'm not that familiar with like what the state of the Australian scene is like. I've checked out the bands that we're playing with, and I'm
mm,
really excited to be sharing the stage with like Run and all
mm.
these other fantastic bands. So I'm going in blind and I'm excited to take it in and see what it's like. But yeah,
Awesome.
having not been there, I feel like I can't really pass judgment.
I think Australia has always had quite a healthy hardcore scene and extreme metal scene. And even I saw with the tour poster with Run supporting, I thought that's nail on head, essentially. The crossover between yourselves and Run it's interesting because Run come across as, progressive metalcore with blackened influences and all sorts of other things, but so do you guys. So there is a really diverse range out there, and I'm sure now that anyone that listens to this interview and is a fan is going to come up to you with a list of 100 million bands. What about the UK scene? I mean, my impression was it's still thriving despite, I guess, all the macroeconomic and whatever other issues we're facing. It seems like the UK scene's fairly healthy as a whole with heavy music.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. It still feels like the UK scene is riding a big wave at the moment, and yeah, I feel so proud to be part of it and just to see so many incredible bands. I think what's been great about the UK scene is the diversity. Like no
Mm.
two bands sound alike. We've got so many fantastic bands breaking through, going on to support much bigger bands, and then you do have your bigger bands like Architects as well. They have just exploded, or
Yeah,
even to look at like a different genre, bands like Sleep Token. Like there's just so much coming out of the UK at the moment, which yeah, I just feel honored to be part of it, to be honest.
that's great. And what about so your touring cycles involving Australia and Japan? Are you continuing with that circuit? Are you having a bit of a break and then getting into the Europe UK side of things, or what's the plans for the rest of the year?
So after we get back from Australia, we have like 1 week with no shows, and then start playing festivals in Europe over the summer. So we've got Into the Grave in the Netherlands, Summer Breeze in Germany, Brutal Assault in the Czech Republic, which I'm really looking forward to because I've not
Nice.
been to that one yet. And oh my God, what's the other one? Oh, Rockstar Extreme in Romania. Not been to Romania before, so that'll be another new country as well, which is always really, really good to get somewhere new. So yeah, we got festival season straight after Australia, and then at the end of the year we have a big European and UK tour with Alcest, which we're really looking forward to.
Oh, interesting, Alcest. So you've got a really diverse range of countries, bands, and experiences to look forward to this year. Sounds
Yeah,
really
it's an exciting year.
fantastic. All right, Serena. Well, look, I won't keep you too long, but thank you so much for your time. I'm really looking forward to your show again. Just rubbing it in for my Aussie listeners. Honestly, look, I don't want to blow too much smoke up your ass on this interview, but I think a lot of Svalbard fans, of which there are a lot of rabid Svalbard fans over here in Australia already, they're not going to know what hit them. Um, in a good way. So I look forward to seeing you guys again as much as I look forward to even just sitting back and watching Australians. We're a keen bunch and people are very excited about the new album and the new tour. So hope that you get at least one roller coaster ride in, hint, hint, Australian fans. But if not, great excuse to come back and suss out the scene for a bit.
Definitely. Oh, it was really nice to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time.
You too. Have a lovely day. Thanks, Serena.
You too. Bye.
Bye.